Have you ever woken up, grabbed your phone, opened your trading app, and your stomach just drops? That was millions of investors in April 2025. Overnight, portfolios were bleeding red. Wall Street headlines screamed about the 2025 U.S. stock market crash, also known as the Liberation Day crash, triggered by sweeping tariffs that sent shockwaves through the global economy. It wasn't just a bad day on the markets, it was one of the sharpest sell-offs in years. The Dow dropped hundreds of points. The S&P sank nearly 3%. Tech stocks got hammered. Billions in wealth were wiped out in hours. But here's the thing. Events like the 2025 market crash aren't random. They follow patterns. And if you can spot those patterns, you can protect yourself and even profit the next time a Liberation Day moment rocks the markets. So today, we're going to break down the anatomy of the 2025 crash and pull out 5 powerful lessons that every investor needs to know. Stick with me till the end because lesson number 5 is the one that separates amateurs from pros. Lesson 1. Every crash starts with a spark. The 2025 U.S. market crash didn't just happen out of thin air. It started with one spark: tariffs. On April 2nd, the administration announced sweeping tariffs on imports, semiconductors, steel, consumer electronics. It was branded Liberation Day in Washington. But for Wall Street, it was the beginning of chaos. Why did it matter? Well, companies were already dealing with high inflation, shaky supply chains, and rising interest rates. Tariffs meant higher costs, squeezed margins, lower profits. Investors looked ahead, and the future suddenly looked darker. And here's the rule. Markets don't react to today, they react to tomorrow. In April, tomorrow looked expensive, uncertain, and dangerous. And so the selling started. That's lesson 1. Every crash has a spark. This time it was tariffs. Next time it could be interest rates, geopolitics, or tech regulation. Always watch for the spark, because that's what lights the fire. Lesson 2. Fear spreads faster than facts. Now here's where it gets wild. Why did a tariff announcement turn into the 2025 stock market crash? Why did it spread across industries, borders, even continents? Because fear spreads faster than facts. It started with algorithms. Trading bots picked up the negative sentiment and dumped shares. That drove prices lower, which triggered margin calls. Traders were forced to sell. Retail investors opened their apps, saw everything in red, and panic sold at exactly the wrong moment. And it didn't stop in the U.S. Emerging markets tied to exports tumbled, European markets dipped, even sectors untouched by tariffs got dragged down. Because fear doesn't discriminate. You've probably been there yourself, opening your app and thinking, should I sell before it gets worse? That's exactly how fear spreads. Lesson 2. The real contagion is panic. Facts take hours or days to catch up, but fear can wipe billions in minutes. Quick pause here. If you're finding this breakdown useful, hit that subscribe button. I cover the markets every week, from big events like the Liberation Day crash of 2025 to practical strategies that keep your money safe. Trust me, you'll want to stay ahead of the next big move. Lesson 3. Not everyone loses in a crash. Here's something most people miss. In the 2025 U.S. market crash, not everyone lost. In fact, some investors actually made money. While tech and industrial stocks got hammered, gold spiked nearly 5% in a week. U.S. Treasury bonds rallied as investors rushed to safety. Even defense stocks saw a bump because tariffs and global tensions often shift money towards security and stability. And don't forget the short sellers. Traders betting against overvalued tech walked away with huge profits. So here's the lesson. Money doesn't disappear, it just moves. When Wall Street panics, it doesn't burn money, it reallocates it. If you can see where it's flowing, to gold, bonds, cash, you can ride that wave instead of getting crushed by it. Lesson 4. Prepare before the crash, not after. Here's where most retail investors fail. They wait until the crash is already here to think about risk management. By then, it's too late. The smart money? They prepared months in advance. Their portfolios were diversified, they had some cash ready, they weren't over-leveraged, they had hedges in place. In April 2025, the investors who stayed calm were the ones with balance. A mix of stocks, bonds, commodities, and cash meant they weren't forced to sell. Some of them even used the crash as an opportunity to buy their favorite stocks at a bargain price. So lesson 4 is this: preparation beats prediction. No one can perfectly predict a market crash, not in 2025, not ever. But you can prepare so that when it comes, you're not scrambling. You're ready. Quick reminder, if you're serious about protecting your money in volatile times like the 2025 stock market crash, subscribe now. This channel is all about staying one step ahead, and you'll fit in right in with a community of smart, prepared investors. And now, the most important lesson of all, the one that defines who wins and who loses in a crash: emotions. During the Liberation Day crash in April, I spoke to 2 investors. Both saw their portfolios fall. The first panicked, sold everything at the bottom, and locked in losses. The second one, he stayed calm, held his positions, and even bought more of his favorite stocks at bargain prices. Guess who came out ahead when the market bounced back weeks later? That's the difference. Not strategy, not luck, just emotional control. Lesson 5. If you panic, you lose. If you stay rational, you win. Every crash from 2008 to the 2025 US market crash proves the same point. Mindset is everything. So, what can we take away from the 2025 US stock market crash? Every crash starts with a spark. Watch for the trigger. Fear spreads faster than facts. Don't get swept up. Not everyone loses. Follow where money flows. Prepare before the crash, not after. Diversify and stay liquid. Control your emotions, because panic is the enemy of profit. If you apply these 5 lessons, the next time markets fall off a cliff, you won't just survive, you'll be positioned to thrive. Now I want to hear from you. What's your biggest takeaway from the Liberation Day crash of 2025? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to know your thoughts. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. Hit that button, join the community, and let's get smarter about money together. Thanks for watching. Stay calm, stay smart, and I'll see you in the next one.